What's going on, people? Do addictions affect art, specifically battle rap? And the reason why I'm coming up with this topic and I want to talk about it is because there's been a consistent pattern in battle rap that we've seen, and we've seen huge, monumental, changes, advancements, exposure, incredible talent being developed that has transformed over the years into something really great, from the streets to, you're talking about huge stages and global exposure. But all the while, even during those changes, there's also been a constant struggle with people dealing with problems. Life is life. Just because you're in battle rap doesn't mean you're not living your life. Just because you're on stage, having to perform against someone else doesn't mean that you don't have X amount of trials and tribulations that you have to face or deal with when you go home. Or the minute you get off that stage, it's back to the real world. And in the real world, people deal with all types of problems. People deal with specifically addictions. Okay? Addictions. This is something that you find in every walk of life. But throughout battle rap, there's been problems people not living up to their word, or written contracts, contractual obligations for different reasons. They may not show up to an event that they were booked for, or, other things. You might, people plagiarize, they steal material, or they cut their rounds very short. Different problems, different issues that affect the battles, that affect the performance. Not only does it affect the person, the actual artist or rapper, because battle rap is an art. Yes, you can argue that it isn't or whatever, but battle rap is an art. And in life, what I've learned, many artists deal with problems, deal with addictions. And I'm not saying all battle rappers do. But when you find someone who's been consistently showing you a pattern of problems that they've been having, that indicates something, especially when they'll tell you, listen, this is what happened, and it keeps happening. It's more than just about them not caring. It's more than just about, you got to listen to what they're not saying. You got to listen to what's there, and by way of their actions and behavior, and it's not rational, it's erratic, especially when people like fans, like myself, or the supporters and the league owners, and money is involved when you're paying these these performers to act, to perform, right? Because that's what they're doing, to show for the people why they are who they are, and they don't deliver, it becomes a problem. So initially, you're going to have the anger, you're going to get the backlash from the public, you're going to get the backlash from the community. And that's almost a natural reaction. But if the person who's going through these problems are not addressing the issues that's causing them to miss out on battles, that's causing them to not care, that's causing them to indulge in alcohol, that's causing them to indulge in drugs, that's causing them to, running in and out of jail constantly. If these problems, those fundamental issues, are not really addressed to help bring some type of resolve or resolution, it doesn't matter what people say, because it's easier to say, ban this person or ban that person. The art's not going to go anywhere, right? It just gets suppressed, right? Like, okay, you won't see someone, you won't deal with this, you don't want to deal with this person anymore, so you just isolate them or have them, I guess, remove them for a certain amount of time. Hopefully they can come back, but it's easier said than done. It brings a lot of issues, because a person, you don't know what a person is going through, and we all have a story. A battle rapper can have legitimate legal issues. A battle rapper can have medical issues. A battle rapper can have family issues. They can have addiction issues. That's blocking their progress. That's causing them to be unable to perform the way that they should. We could see it in any type of industry, any walk of life. Okay, you could go down the list. I'm not going to express who I'm talking about here, because this is a general type of message that I'm sharing as a avid supporter of the community. This is a general message, so it's not about finger pointing. It's not about pointing blame at who's doing what. If there are problems, problems don't just disappear overnight. If a person is telling you that they couldn't show up to an event because they were locked up for, whatever illegal act they committed, what's causing them to do that? If a person is telling you that they were, strung out somewhere in an alley somewhere and had to get picked up by the medics because they were using illicit substances and narcotics, what are the issues that's causing this person to use these drugs? What are the issues that's causing this person to be drunk and be unable, to fulfill their responsibilities? It's easier to point fingers. It's easy. I know it's just what it is. But how are these guys getting the help that they need? And women too. It's not, and guys, I mean, I'm not trying to be sexist, because this applies to men, women in general. So it's what has to be understood, in my opinion, is that these problems don't go away. Like, you have these entertainers. You have entertainers that deal with all types of mental health issues. You have entertainers that deal with all types of substance abuse issues. It's not something that's void in battle rap, right? So you have entertainers who will do the same thing. They're booked to perform, and they end up giving you, a performance that's not stellar at all. They didn't fulfill their obligations. And how many times do people get booed off the stage? How many times do people don't show up? And, fans are upset. This person's not showing up to this concert. This person's not showing up to this show. How many times did this artist get locked up repeatedly in and out of jail because of their problems? Because they have fundamental problems. They're still human. They're still dealing with life issues. They're still dealing with life challenges. These things don't just go away when they get money. And actually, the pressures of fame can cripple someone as well too. We've seen it. It's documented. Just because all things that glitters isn't gold. So we have to keep certain things in mind. And when you have a young person who comes from nothing, who comes from nothing, has very little support, no real family support, and they're the first in their family to attain some type of achievement, some type of goal, whether it's to finish school, and in this case, whether it's to get on the camera and perform their raps in front of someone else. That's a huge accomplishment. But if they're not right internally, okay, if they don't have some type of balance or strong foundation internally, this is within them. This is not about the people. If they're not right within themselves, you're going to have these problems manifest themselves over and over and over again. Because outside, yes, you could praise them for the good work that they're doing, because they're talented. It's evident in how they perform. It's evident in the material they convey. It's there. But at home, when they leave, when those lights turn off and they go home, they go back to the same problems. That's causing them to be conflicted in the first place. It's just what it is. You can't put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. You can't put, a Band-Aid on a wound the size of a manhole. It just doesn't work like that. And that's how a lot of people, they suffer in silence. That's why you could hear it in the way that they convey their message. It's just not, these things, I mean, it's what it is. So we have to be a little bit more understanding and open-minded. As you could easily say, oh, give up. Why don't you stop drinking? Easier said than done. You could easily say, why don't you stop sniffing coke? Why don't you stop doing dope? Why don't you stop robbing? Why don't you stop, going in and out of jail? It's easier said than done. That's why these issues repeat themselves over and over and over again. Battle rap, and in battle rap, you do find everything. Everything in life is encompassed in battle rap, because the battle rap, it delivers you a snapshot of the realities that poor people are experiencing every day. You think it's fun for someone to perform on stage and then have to go back home to misery? That's not cool. But that's something they have to bear. That's a cross they have to bear every day. It's a reality. It's not easy for someone to perform on stage in front of 1,000 individuals who they'll never see again, probably, or who they've never seen before, and do well. And those that can, more power, more kudos. But those who struggle and you see they have the gift, don't tear them down. Don't tear them down. Because what's the purpose? Everyone is not perfect. Everyone is not perfect, and you got to give people a break sometimes. Because I could easily judge somebody. I could do it. I'm no different. I'm not an exception. I could easily say, this is not right, and we need to this person, get him out of here, and this and that. Look, but then what? Because that's not going to be the last time you find somebody like that. You think that's going to be the last artist you meet that's going to have these problems, that's going to present so much talent, where you will say this person has so much potential, but they drink too much. That's not just limited to one person. You're going to continue until you learn how to deal with the message, until you find them, because these things are presenting themselves for a reason. Until you're able to resolve these issues, it's going to repeat and reoccur over and over and over again. League owners, you're dealing with the elements of, poverty in reality, poor people, and you find all the social ills that exist in marginalized, impoverished communities. So just because you tell someone to sit down because they can't memorize their material, or they're stealing deposit money, or they're not showing up to battles, just because because they're dealing with whatever they're dealing with, real life issues. I'm talking about the ones that are dealing with real life issues like addiction. If you don't help them address that, then you think you're not going to have another person down the line show up with the same? Because it's happened. This is a repeated issue that's happened over battle. It's not just, this is not something that's happening today. It's a pattern. It's been going on for years, and it won't stop. It's a part of life. So how do you deal with it? How do you address it and move on? How do you address it? Not only to address it and help the person, because it's about helping. Because you got to help. They're there for a reason. They're there to help you expose your platform. You're there to help the person, expose them to the world. It's a working relationship. And of course, the fans receive the best of both worlds, because they're getting solid performance from the artist and from a solid platform, from a league. So everyone can win. But then when you have these issues that come up with the artist, it could cause a problem if it goes unnoticed. If you just ignore it and just say, oh, go ahead somewhere. It's not easy dealing with addictions. It's not. We all, I know no one out here does not know someone who's an alcoholic. No one in the world doesn't know someone who may have suffered or have dealt with drug addiction, problems with in life in general. We're not devoid of that. We're not, an exception to the rule, if you will. So that's all I'm trying to say. You can't just offer something more, because in some cases, if a person appears to be arrogant and they're unwilling to change, perhaps they haven't hit rock bottom yet. In some cases, some people believe they don't have a problem. But if someone is telling you they were, behind bars or in a hospital somewhere as a result of their addiction, it's serious. It's serious. What measures are you going to take to protect yourself? What measures are you going to take to actually help that person get treatment? Because it's to the point now where they need some type of professional help that rises above the level of what the battle rap community could provide. That's just what I'm saying. You know, professional service and treatment has to come in now. Now you're talking about medical and clinical issues that has to come in now. It's more than just about some battle rap. That's it.